Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris, and today I'm reviewing the new album from Pallbearer titled Forgotten Days. So hey guys, welcome back. It's Lockdown 2.0 here in the UK. Just shit's hit the fan, really. Good news about America though. I don't like to get too political on this show, but good choice, America, good choice. Anyway, this is better late than never, as they say. I mentioned over on our Instagram page that I had every intention to review this album when it came out, and of course I got distracted and caught up in other projects that I was doing. My band have been getting up to something very special. That kept me very busy, as you can imagine, but here we now are with the new album. I've been toying around with the idea of doing a video near the end of the year where I review albums that I wanted to review throughout the course of the year, but for one reason or another I never got around to doing them. I've got 2 albums in mind for that at the moment, but I knew I wasn't going to leave this album any longer than was absolutely necessary. The reason being is that I was a huge fan of Pallbearer's last album, Heartless. I loved it so much, it was my #1 pick for Best Metal Album of 2017, so of course, new album came out this year, 2020. I had to talk about it no matter how long it took me to get to it. So Pallbearer are a doom metal band from Arkansas formed in 2008. The new album, titled Forgotten Days, is the band's 4th LP, and it dropped on October the 23rd and is the band's first album with Nuclear Blast. Describing the fundamentals of what Pallbearer sound like is fairly simple. They are an emotional doom metal band with some elements of prog sprinkled in here and there. However, of course, it goes a lot deeper than that. So I first discovered the band with their previous album, Heartless, and I was completely mesmerised by it. I was floored by the extremely strong emotions that were coming from the music, and I could not get enough of the awesome riffs and the magnificent vocal performance on the album. I was in from the first track, as it were. Not to mention, I'm also very much drawn to their album covers. They just have such cool art styles on their covers. They're fantastic. So that, of course, is quite a tough album to follow up on. I had every faith that Pallbearer would make another great album, but how would it compare to my favourite album of 2017? So the album boots off in quite a dark fashion. We don't get swooping melody or grand vocals, we get a noise-filled build-up on the opening title track, which leads to a very dark sounding doom riff. But man, that riff is fucking good. It's so simple, yet so incredibly catchy, and the way it charges back in after the first chorus is so satisfying. We do get a bit of a taste of the melodic and emotional range during the guitar solo that's done a little over halfway through. Excellent guitar work is a common theme on this album, just saying. Should I ever see this band live in the future, I can see this song opening up a set and it just being a blistering opener. It would be so fucking good. Riverbed, I absolutely love. It's everything I love about this band. The riffs are awesome, just like they were on the first track, and the vocals in this band, demonstrated in this song, are just incredible. They're remarkably good. They put so much emotion into every song that they do, and Riverbed is a very good example of this. I'm a sucker for when songs suddenly drop and then we're left with a somber bit of vocals and a single guitar note. That's really impactful to me whenever they do that, and it achieves that somber tone really, really effectively. Some may call it dreary, I call it powerful and moving. So darker emotions and more difficult to express emotions are what this band prioritise and deal with most often. It's not enjoyable in the same way as most metal, and not a lot of metal is uplifting per se, but most metal is enjoyable in that raucous, loud kind of way that metal just is. This band are not about that at all. It's about the more difficult themes to deal with, and I have so much respect for that. Moving on, Vengeance and Ruination is probably your heaviest song on the album. I mean, with a title like that, doesn't really lie. The song starts with a repeated chord that is just slightly bent out of key to give it an unsettling sound. Those pounding drums just really add to the sense of dread. The lyrics to this one are where it gets properly dark. Cries for deliverance echo through halls of pain. Vengeance and ruination flows in crimson rivers. The agony of castigation, an offering to the true God death delivered. Fucking hell. I know I've been harping on about the guitar, vocals, and lyrics predominantly. I don't mean that as in the rest of the band don't completely bring it, because they absolutely do. This is one of the tightest bands in metal right now. The low end in this kind of music is massively important, and the drums and bass on this album are both so tight. They really give the low and pounding sections the force they need to really give impact when you're not in those more melodic moments. It's very, or the whole spectrum is covered masterfully. I would also consider this album a good one for people who are not into the longer songs that you often find in doom and prog music. I adore long songs. One of my favourite bands of all time is Opeth, for Christ's sake. But I understand for some people, an album full of songs that reach 10 minutes and longer can be quite a daunting process. So on this album, while you do have Silver Wings, which reaches over 12 minutes, all the other songs are shorter than 8 minutes, some of them shorter than 5. So if longer songs put you off Heartless, because that album had a lot of them, you don't have to worry about that here. So this could be a good starting point for the band if you've not heard them before. It's a tricky album to really get into too many specifics about, because, and I truly do not mean this in a negative way, if you like Heartless, you'll like this. It starts out more dark than Heartless on the first track, but the package as a whole very much feels like a follow-up, a natural follow-up to Heartless. This, of course, is not a negative, because Heartless is a masterpiece. I think I'd have to sit on this one a little bit longer to decide how I rate it next to the previous album, but for now, to nobody's surprise, Forgotten Days is an incredible album. Albums as good as these do not happen by accident. Pallbearer know what they're doing, and they're just one of the most talented songwriters in metal right now, and Forgotten Days continues to prove why Pallbearer are one of the most exciting doom metal bands ever. So go check out the new Pallbearer album, Forgotten Days. It's a brilliant album. It's been out a little while now, but I had to talk about it because I love this band so much. Thank you so much for watching. Consider checking us out on social media as well for updates on future videos. Got some exciting projects coming up soon, so thanks so much for watching. Go listen to some heavy metal.